Hi, class. I'd like to welcome you to week 3 of organizational behavior. And here we're going to take a look at the impact of attitude in the workplace. There are some guiding questions I think we should really take a peek at this week. And I'm going to read them off to you real quick. First of all, why might people perceive the same situation differently? How are workplace attitudes formed? How do attitudes impact behaviors? How do individuals influence team behaviors? Why does the communication channel that is used matter? And what are the barriers to communicating effectively? These are all really important things you need to learn as you're growing in your work situation. And we're going to try to address those in this week's content. And there's quite a bit to go over this week. You're going to do some reading. First, you're going to read this bit on chapter 3 on perceptions and job attitudes. When you're done with that, I want you to watch this really good TED Talk on unconscious bias. And that's going to be a big part of your assignment this week and your discussion journal is how does unconscious bias play a role in hiring? And we're going to have a little bit of fun with that one. So I'll get into that a little bit, but this is a really good video. This is a hiring manager, and she discusses about, how bias has even crept into her practice. So after you're done with that, there's a couple other things to review. Conformity, compliance, and obedience. That's another video. All right, it's a short video on compliance and obedience. And then you're going to read this bit called communication channels. And I took that and I put it into a little explainer video for you. So you can, if you don't want to read through every bit of it, you can also just watch the explainer video, which kind of leads us into some more content later. So you go ahead and watch this when you're done. Let's see, moving on. This is a real good, it's awesome, it's short, it discusses the barriers of effective communication. And then there's a document here you can read as well. I love it because it teaches us a little bit about, how different things can affect how well you're communicating in the workplace, and it can also be applied to life as well. All right, so when you're done with that, you got a quiz, all right, and that's worth 25 points over the content in chapter in week 3, all right? And here's what I want to get into is I have created kind of a unique discussion board, and it's kind of scenario based, right? So we're going to discuss hiring bias in some theoretical ESPN hires. So if you click on that, you'll get into this ESPN sports anchor hiring simulation, right? So you're going to go through, you're going to read the description, the qualifications, pretend that you are the hiring manager. Great. Your job is to rank these candidates. At the end, there's some more things that you're going to put into your discussion box. Okay. So here are all the candidates. You're looking for the best candidates. You're also looking at some things that could make them perhaps not a great candidate and weed them out. You can look for potential bias in their candidacy, in their application. Right, so we've got a good mix of candidates throughout here. Okay, you're going to rank them from 1 to 6. All right, at the end here, okay, you're going to discuss in your discussion board which candidates did you rank highest and why. Is there any like personal cues, maybe the photo, maybe the name, maybe a hobby that affected your choices, and why did that affect your choice? How do subtle biases show up potentially in hiring situations, especially as we're talking about this one? What strategies can reduce bias when making hiring or promotion decisions? And how did humor or first impressions influence your judgment? Okay, so I hope you enjoy doing this assignment. It's a typical discussion board. I lay out, here where what exactly you're supposed to be doing. You do need to reply to at least 2 of your peers. All right. Here I have the rubric and you can see exactly, that it's worth 20 points and whatnot. I'm going to open that up for you. So your initial post, did it answer all 5 of the questions in great detail? If it did a great job, you get 10 points. Like a partially met, there's a 1 to 9 points, and then does not meet would be 0 points, right? And then if you repost for at least 2 of your team or your classmates, and you do it, with a good solid post, and you can get max points there. Okay. Okay. Hopping out of this one here, we'll get into the last part of the assignment, and this is that that interview planning journal. And so now, I've given you some feedback at this point in time on your 4 candidates that you had listed as people that you would like to interview. Now, don't forget, this is an in-person interview. You're just not going to send them the assessment and have them fill it out. You're going to interview them and then fill out the template. So here you're going to identify those 2 names, and then I'll just give you a yay or nay. It's only worth 5 points, but just explain why you want them to be your candidates. That is, I believe, it. Just double check there. Yes, that is it for this week. I hope you're moving along quickly in this class and without any issues. If you are, please let me know, and I look forward to moving along in this class with you. Have a great day.